So Russell Maliphant's associate artist at Sadler's Wells, has been for 5 or 6 years, and so we regularly produce his new work. So we did After Light last, the solo about Nijinsky, and this is a new project based on the idea of Rodin, and it's going to be opening in Chaillot in France, in fact, in February of 2012. And then come to Sadler's Wells later in the year. I'd also like to welcome the students working in Paris and London in association with the education project around this. Welcome to it, and I hope you have an interesting and creative time with it.
I've known Rodin's work for 30 years. I became familiar with it when I was a student, and it's always been inspiring, you know, the shapes, the texture, the physicality. You know, as a dance, as a choreographer who's interested in sculpture anyway, you know, that's always been an inspiration. So in the last project, after doing something that was kind of based around Nijinsky and drawings of Nijinsky, we really enjoyed the process, having something to pin information on. There's already so many fantastic watercolours and sculptures and ideas with the body and configurations and forms. It just seemed like that would be a great place to go from. Well, I work almost all the time with Michael Hulls, the lighting designer. Michael Hulls, we've collaborated together I think for 17 years or so now. And the collaborators for the rest of the piece, I had worked with Es Devlin on a piece called Small Boats and Afterlight. I wanted to have the opportunity to work with her again, and she does sets. So we decided for the structure of the piece quite early on, as Michael and I were talking, we try and split it into two halves for thinking about it. And we had various ideas, and you know, we started with kind of marble and bronze, and we thought kind of that's not working as the differentiation. So I had some books on Rodin's watercolours, and there were so many that were fantastic that I thought, well, let's go into watercolour and sculpture as a reference and a way to gather information. For the sculpture part, we wanted something like plinths and podiums and something that could change the configuration of the body. So, you know, a lot of the sculptures, they, you know, maybe a leg is off the floor or a knee is down or something is supported in space. And if you have the leg up, it's not the same. It needs to kind of be weight-bearing so that it can transmit down, pressure down. Or, you know, if someone is draped at a certain angle, you can't do that flat. It just doesn't have the same, you know, you need the hips up or the head down to get this beautiful curve fall of the spine and the neck. And so we knew we wanted these inclined surfaces and to have lots of variety. So that would be the second part, where it's kind of raw. And then in the first part, where it's watercolour, we had thought this should be like a canvas involving drapery, because a lot of the sculptures, they had this, like Balzac or the Burghers of Calais, they have this just cloth that still gives them a kind of a weight and a monumental statuesque shape and form. Also sculpting the space, that okay, we're doing something on sculpture and I don't want to have a set that's back here somewhere kind of presented that way. The idea of sculpture that you can go around and you can change space. I wanted to work with that, so we've got these drapes that you can pull forward and pull back into different areas and change the space between different scenes. So it started as a kind of as a canvas, but then it sculpts the space, so it's grown from that. It's not just a canvas. I came to see something at Sadler's Wells, Breaking Convention, and I was lucky enough to see some dancers here. I saw Theo, who was doing crumping, and Dixon was doing popping, and Ella was doing more hip hop. There was a great kind of texture, I thought, and the shapes of the vocabulary in that. Also because it didn't have so much of a front. You know, it's not presentational to the front. It's more in a circle, which is more, for me, like sculpture, so you can, any of the angles are important. Rodin was talking about 360 degrees of profile. Welcome to everyone that's involved in this project, and would I have any advice on on how, you know, how to follow this, I don't know. I'd say it's a very rich source. You know, the period was a very rich source, and following Rodin, who followed Michelangelo, who followed classicism in a way, and there seems to be a huge amount of knowledge and information that has come down through history and found different routes and forms, and I just think, you know, dig into it and delve into it, and there will be a rich source of pickings from that.